Hey, this week on Steel Horse Thunder, we're going to expose the truth and dispel some myths about where our money goes when we do charity rides. And I'm picking the granddaddy of them all, the Miracle Ride. We're going to take an in-depth look, and much farther than we've ever gone before with Steel Horse Thunder, into Riley Hospital, into the research lab where the money goes. We're going to find out exactly where the money goes and how it is spent when you donate to the Miracle Ride. I know you're going to be blown away just like we were when you take a look at what we get to see. You won't see a whole lot of motorcycles on this episode, but what you will find out is exactly where the money goes. So there's no more mystery to it. You know exactly where it's going. We're going to be blown away by this, and next week we'll have part 2 of this episode, and you'll see a lot of the bikes, you'll see a lot of the ride then. But when it's all said and done, there'll be no more questions where the money goes. Now, let's take a look at the 2015 Miracle Ride.
Steel Horse is brought to you by Leidendorf Law, with over 60 years experience in motorcycle and automotive injury cases.
When it's time to ride, we'll keep your mind where it matters most, on the open road. We get it. Ryder Insurance is the only insurance company specifically created for the motorcycle and ATV communities. No one but riders. Our specialized staff is here for you with great coverage options, discounts to help you save, and 24/7 claims reporting if something happens along the way. And with roadside assistance included on all of our policies, we've got your back wherever the road leads. We get it. No worries, just riding.
Family. We know it's important.
That's why our family mission is to protect yours.
If you've been injured in any accident, call us.
The insurance company may not be looking out for your family.
But we are.
Call us. We will get you the compensation you deserve and help you protect the most important thing in your life, your family. Leidendorf Law, your Indiana injury lawyers. Like family, because we are.
So Lois, you ride your own bike, and you told me the name of it. What is the name of your bike?
Scarlet.
Scarlet. Why did you name it Scarlet?
I named her Scarlet because of the color. We learned at the B&B when I was doing the registration and the plates that the color is scarlet red, so Scarlet.
So it's not Gone with the Wind?
Well, actually it is Gone with the Wind. Scarlet Gone with the Wind.
So how long have you been riding?
On my own, about 5 years. That was on my bucket list when I was 45. I wanted to learn how to ride. So 55 years later.
So tell me about your bike.
Well, it's a 2011 Fat Boy, and actually my husband bought me this bike for his 50th birthday. That's how we always say that. So that's a pretty good birthday present, right, for him?
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, so on his 50th birthday, he presented me with this Fat Boy. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. So you got the birthday present on his birthday.
I did. So totally surprised, right?
And your birthdays aren't the same day, right?
Mine's in November. His is in July.
Okay. Well, I love your bike. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you have anything else on your bucket list as far as like big rides?
I want to do the Rolling Thunder. We just had a friend that just completed that and got back. Jeff Razor and his wife Rhonda, along with some friends, and we really want to participate in that in the near future.
We just did that ride.
Yeah. It looks awesome. So we want to do that.
Some people say true beauty comes from within. At Crambo's, we think beauty can be inside and out. Along with the best paint and bodywork in the state, Crambo's also offers all Harley motorcycle service work, from tune-ups to rebuilds. So make sure your bike looks as good as it runs and bring it on in to the only shop that treats your bike as good as we treat our own. Crambo's. We'll get you noticed.
Bad things happen to good people. That's the difficult part of our job. Our firm works with great people during very tough times. Because of that, your compensation is our first priority. No one can prepare for the aftermath of an accident, but the insurance company is prepared to give you the bare minimum. That's why you need legal guidance, to give you a voice and get you the money you deserve. Leidendorf Law, your Indiana injury lawyers. Like family, because we are.
If you ride a motorcycle in Indiana, you've probably ridden or known someone who has ridden in the Miracle Ride. It is one of Indiana's biggest and most popular charity rides. And proceeds go to Riley Children's Hospital, one of the premier children's hospitals in the country. The Bennetts are one of the Miracle Ride's ambassador families this year. We would get a chance to meet Mom Stephanie and daughter Grace at their home in Brownsburg to hear their incredible story.
So Stephanie, how was it before Gracie got cancer?
We were living your typical life. You know, she was a feisty little 3-year-old, and but at the time my mom was also diagnosed with cancer, and so I had actually been taking my mom to treatments at the time and everything. And then in February of 2010, then everything changed.
So on top of finding out that Gracie had cancer, your mom also was having to
Yes.
deal with cancer.
Yes.
So I'm sure the whole family was probably going through a mess at that time.
Yes, we were. I actually found out I was pregnant with Grace the same week my mom was diagnosed. So, and Grace was a miracle baby in the first place. I had lost 2 before, and we did some fertility and everything, and I was told I was never going to be able to have kids. And then we kind of just put it on the back burner and everything, and then I ended up pregnant. And then my mom found out she had cancer, and I told my mom then at the oncology office that it was God's timing. You know, we can now focus on the pregnancy and not focus on the cancer.
Before you got sick, what'd you do? Were you playing softball then and stuff?
I played softball.
And then you got sick. What happened? I mean, leading up to that, I mean, did you know you were getting sick, or?
I didn't know I was getting sick. Normally my mom noticed it. I was so nervous that I didn't know I had a brain tumor. I didn't know if I was getting sick at all.
But your mom had an idea, didn't she?
Yep.
Here's a life lesson for you. Moms always know. No matter what you do, moms always know.
You know, one day at preschool, I picked her up from school, and her teacher said that she was off that day. And I asked her what she meant. She said, I really can't pinpoint it. And then that following morning is when it hit me that something was wrong with her.
And what made you think that anything would have been wrong with her?
She come in the bedroom and woke me up and was crying because she wet the bed, and Grace never wet the bed, even when she was potty training. And so she was very upset about it, and I told her it was not a big deal, and we got her changed, and we were sitting there on the bed, and she kept looking at me, and her eye was twitching. And I thought it was odd. And I mean, I get a twitching eye, we all get them, you know, usually from stress or caffeine or something like that, or you're tired. And so I put her in the playroom, went to do laundry. I pulled her sheets off, and I was in the laundry room, and it was playing over and over in my head what the teacher had said, and then that she wet the bed and the eye was twitching, and it all of a sudden hit me that, oh my gosh, she's having seizures. And I would have never thought of seizures, but I worked with a girl that had seizures, and her eye would do that before she would have a big seizure. And so it kind of just made me be more aware. And we went to the emergency room, and I had to make a scene to get her back there sooner. And then when the doctor came in, he told me that there was nothing wrong with her. She just had a twitching eye because she had no other symptoms, and that we were aware of. So I fought with him for 45 minutes and told him that I was certain that something was wrong with her, that my mom gut was saying something was wrong with her. And so he finally said, you know, to pacify you, I'll do a CAT scan. And so he did, and they told us to be 45 minutes before we got results, but he was in the room in 5 minutes, teary-eyed, very apologetic, and promised me that he would never go against a mom's gut again. And he took me back to the room, showed me the CAT scan, and I hit the floor. And it was like hitting a wall. And I just felt like at that time, how could I go through anything else with my mom dying? So he called Riley Transport and the neurosurgeon, and they came and got us. And And in a matter of 45 minutes, our whole world was turned upside down. She was, you know, when I told her we were in an ambulance, you know, she wanted to know why we were going. And I just told her, I said, you've got, you know, a tumor in your head and they're going to get it out and then you're going to be okay, you know. So she had surgery and was in ICU for 10 days. And he was only able to remove a small portion of it. And then he told us that it was a type of tumor they don't normally see. And so we got the call 2 weeks later from pathology, and it confirmed that it was a grade 2 oligoacertoma, which is normally found in 40-year-old men.
And that's the part I started getting nervous. I was like, Mom, I'm so scared. So I started getting nervous every time. Every time, because like, every time I think that I'm gonna flatline. I'm just scared of that. Yeah. She's gonna hit something wrong. Right. She's not gonna get to it. It's just nervous.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's a very scary thing. I think everybody would be worried about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so you went to the hospital, you went to Riley Hospital?
Yep.
And how were they there at Riley?
They were very nice. They were all like, okay, Gracie, you're gonna count to 3 and we're gonna get this over with. Even when it's the hard part, we will just like, hey Gracie, we're gonna take this off. It's all right, just don't cry. Just try to be still.
Grace would have to go through several more surgeries, chemotherapy, and radiation at Riley Hospital. And in December of 2014, Grace's doctor would be faced with a difficult decision. Put Grace through her 3rd surgery to try and completely remove the tumor, or attempt radiation.
So they say they have, you said something about they had to pass through the blood.
There was a blood barrier where her tumor was at, and Dr. Smith was able to kind of maneuver and get in there and get all of it, because she said that when the pathology came back and it showed that there was cancer cells there, she just didn't know where this thing had gone. And you know, she said that she prayed about it and she heard Grace say, just get it, Dr. Smith. And Grace had all of the trust in Dr. Smith, because she had the option of radiation or surgery, and she said, I trust Dr. Smith, and if Dr. Smith says she can get it, then we're doing surgery. And she made the right choice. And radiation is a good thing, you know, in a sense, but it causes a lot of other issues. And I think that Dr. Smith said that had we not done the surgery route, things could have went a lot worse.
Grace's surgery was a success. Doctors were able to remove all the tumor, and Grace is able to lead a productive, healthy life despite missing the front part of her brain. Organizing such a big motorcycle ride for such a great cause takes a special person, and that man is Terry Riley, who works year-round to put together the event. Terry, I know I've talked with some people over the years, and because this is such a big thing, you know, a lot of people are like, well, you know, the money doesn't go to the hospital, the money, you know, they don't know where it's going and this and that. And so I do know there's people that actually won't do it, only because they think all this money's going to line your pockets, or, you know, that you have a huge staff and all the money's going for salaries and stuff.
Sure. It's a question that I receive when we're out doing our fundraising as well. But we're actually a very efficient organization. There's only one paid position, and I'm in it. The rest is done by volunteers. We have more than 200 volunteers it takes to run the Miracle Ride weekend. These are people that give up their time, use their vacation time. We have a committee and a board, and they're all volunteers. Our committees get started in January and work throughout the winter and spring to get ready for the Miracle Ride, and our board supports us in that effort and helps us with the decision-making process and the oversight. And we do have a lot of corporate supporters as well, and you know, they pay whatever administrative costs, and then whatever's left over we donate to the hospital, and all the rider proceeds are always donated to Riley Children's Hospital. So even though we're big, we are very efficient.
Well, in case you wondered about the proceeds, we're standing here in the, what'd you call it, the International
Headquarters
yes.
of the Miracle Ride Foundation.
It's a modest office.
Yeah, yeah, it sure is. And it doubles as some storage as well as some garage space as well at home, and several of our volunteers as well. But it's part of how we keep the administrative costs down. You know, this is it. This is all of our offices right here, and this is where it happens. And we get a conference room when we need it, when we can't all fit in here. So
Right.
we keep our costs down.
Well, I think I might have to see if we can do a ride to raise money to at least get you a nice desk chair with your desk or something.
You know, and it's funny you mention that, because so much of this stuff was donated to us in kind, you know, and we have so many companies that are willing to help us, and they've given us furniture and chairs, and they help us with lots and lots of things. So we really don't have to, you know, spend much administratively to keep the ride going and keep it interesting for the riders, and donate as much as we can to the Riley kids.
I mean, you have a lot of information on the website.
Yes, we do.
And it kind of lets everybody know. Do you guys post like how much we raised and all that kind of stuff after a ride?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have our complete giving history on there since the outset. Our first gift was made in 1994, and Miracle Ride was started as an idea in 1993, first ride in 1994, and it shows all of our contributions, and it also shows how the money gets used. And we ask the foundation what their most pressing needs are, and we often give the money specifically to what are the most urgent priorities. The hospital gives the foundation the priorities, and then the Riley Children's Foundation gives us those priorities, and then we donate to those things. And for many years, Child Life Services was something which is a form of social services that tries to make the hospital stay less scary, was a big focus of the Miracle Ride for many years. And now we've moved into research, because they're making breakthroughs on treatments and cures for some things, and new medications and new technologies. So we put a lot of money into research the last couple of years.
To go even more in depth to where the money from the Miracle Ride goes, we went to Riley Hospital to see the department that would be receiving the proceeds. Hey, you know, a common question on a ride of this magnitude is, where does the money go? We raise a lot of money for a big organization, for a big facility. I'm here with Dr. Yoder, and he's going to answer some of these questions. Doctor, can you tell us what the Miracle Ride does for you guys?
Yes, I'd be happy to. First, I want to thank everyone for contributing. The Wells Center for Pediatric Research is large. We have 7 major research groups in the Wells Center, and there are about 300 people that work in those 7 programs. Those programs include cardiovascular genetics, developmental cardiovascular biology, basic diabetes research, asthma and allergic diseases, and then both solid cancers and what we call the liquid cancers, which are the leukemias and the lymphomas. Okay. So we're studying in all of those areas, and this past year, the money from the Miracle Ride actually was evenly divided into all 7 programs.
Oh, wow.
So it actually affected a lot of projects. Probably over 250 individual research projects were impacted by the support.
Wow. You know, I mean, that's really cool, because you don't, as a rider, you don't realize what's really taking place. You know, I always love with the ride, we always get to come by the hospital. So you get to see some kids out there, you know, and it's not just about taking a lap around the Indy 500. Even though that's a cool thing to do on a motorcycle, it's all about the kids. But even after you see the kids, you don't understand. I mean, that really put it into perspective. Mm-hmm. Do you guys have, myself, I think of it as, you know, is there really anything else we can learn? It seems like we technology and the stuff that we've learned up to this time. I mean, do you guys get the breakthroughs at times?
Yes, actually. In fact, the more we know, the more there is to know. The more we have new tools to use in research, the more we discover. I'll give you an example. About 15 years ago, the human genome was completely sequenced. And 15 years ago, we knew all of the genes that are in the human genome, right? But we didn't know how any of them were regulated. The thing that was really strange about that is we realized only about 5% of all the DNA in the genome made up for things that code for proteins. And that was shocking because that meant 95% of the DNA didn't appear to be doing anything. In fact, it was called junk DNA. What we've learned in the last 10 years, that 95% completely regulates the 5%. So the level of complexity of the regulation of how our bodies are formed and how we're different is incredibly complicated and very tightly regulated, more so than even the things that go into making our bodies. And so, of course, now we realize that the kinds of mutations that take place that cause cancer, cause heart disease, cause other kinds of health-related problems, much of it's in the regulatory region that we didn't even know about 15 years ago.
That's pretty amazing.
That's just the example I was trying to give of how we learn more. There's just so much more to discover.
And that's, again, it's pretty neat because you think that this is the 22nd annual Miracle Ride. And so for 22, this will be 22 years now, I've been able to contribute to this. And, you can actually look back and say, hey, we kind of had a part to do with this major breakthrough.
Yes. The interesting thing, 3 years ago, I went to all of the physicians in Riley and I asked them to give me a list of all the diseases for which there were little or no treatment available for the children they were serving. And I got a list of 83 illnesses, 83 conditions where, back then it was 2013, that we still didn't have treatments for. And so what we did is, in the Wells Center, we all picked one or two of those illnesses that we're studying. So, we're really trying to solve the hardest problems. Among all pediatric hospitals that belong to a medical center like we do, we're in the top 10 of all of those hospitals in the country in terms of the research funding that we have been able to garner and the kind of research that we're doing. And of course, that does feed into the care. So we discover something, we talk to our clinical colleagues, we exchange ideas, we help them change what they're doing. And so while we're on the cutting edge on the research, that means we're also on the cutting edge of clinical care.
We had the privilege of meeting little Gracie Bennett and her mom and everything. And I understand you have a personal tie to that same disease.
Yes. Yes, unfortunately, my wife also developed a tumor very similar to the one Gracie had, and unfortunately we didn't catch it very early, and even though she had great treatment, she eventually was not able to survive that disease. I'm very excited about Gracie's story and the care that she's been able to get, and the fact that they got it pretty early and have been able to follow her so closely. I think that's going to make a huge difference in her life. We study patients' brain tumors here in the Wells Center. So we have a group of investigators who have developed what we call humanized mouse models of human disease. And so these are mice that are created especially so that their immune system is suppressed, and that allows human tissue to grow in the mice. And so we can take pieces of brain tissue that has been removed during surgery to remove the brain tumor, and we can directly stereotopically put those cells right any place we want to in the brain of the mouse, and then study how the human tumor grows in the mouse. And then we can also study experimental treatments that we give to the mice and see if those are better able to kill the tumor cells than the currently existing treatments. And in doing so, we hope that we're able to come up with new ways that we can actually eventually apply to the human patients.
You know, as a participant of the Miracle Ride now since 2000, so we've been doing this quite a while, Cindy and I, and to be able to actually walk in this facility and talk to one of the doctors and see the lab and see the work that's being done here, it's, you know, I've always been proud of the fact that Cindy's been able to raise $1,000 every year now for quite some time. But after seeing what's going on here, I want to make sure we can raise at least a couple thousand just on our own, because it's just, I understand why it's the Miracle Network. I mean, the stuff that's going on in here is amazing. And I wish everybody could come in and see what takes place and see where your money goes. While we were at Riley, we met up with musician Rusty Bladen, who had come down for the afternoon to perform a free show for the kids. Since most of the kids can't leave their rooms, Rusty performed in a virtually empty room, and his show is recorded and broadcast into all the rooms throughout the hospital. Now, Rusty, I know this isn't a typical gig for you. Obviously, I've heard you play in many different places, big events, small events, even a campground or two. So, for the audience, what do they expect when they come to see Rusty Bladen?
Well, I'm like a chameleon. I've played preschools to nursing homes, bikers to lawyers and doctors. It doesn't matter. I always play the music that when I look out on a crowd, I just kind of get a feel what they might want to hear. And today you're going to hear some, some family-friendly songs.
You know, I'd rather ride my motorcycle.
I really enjoy doing things like this. I know I was given a talent, and it's great to share it and bring a little joy to people's lives. I do this every chance I get.
Well, you're a phenomenal singer-songwriter, and I like that kind of style. I like a lot of your original stuff that you do. It's very good, and I enjoy it. I know I've watched you at shows where you're doing a lot of classic rock and that kind of stuff, a lot of songs that you don't hear on the radio, and that's what I like about you. You are very versatile.
Thank you.
And again, I can't help but to say thank you one more time for coming up here and volunteering your time for the kids here at Riley Hospital for Miracle Ride Weekend.
Still Horse is brought to you by Leidendorf Law, with over 60 years experience in motorcycle and automotive injury cases.